What's up, YouTube? How you doing? Mark Malone here. It's been a long time since I've done any live stream. I've just been really busy over here between the jigs and the reels. I don't know if it's any relevance, but it certainly has slowed me down not having my Swedish phone. The motherboard's broken on it, and I dropped it from hip height. Despite the abuse that phone took, it finally carked it. So it's iPhone, not the same as since Jobs checked out. God rest your Jobs. You're a great man with a heart of gold, allegedly. So yeah, there's been a lot of crazy chat going on over in the States with King of the Nonces, Jeffrey Epstein, and I'd be a liar to say I wasn't fucking deep into the conspiracy crack. I know a lot of people are, but there's a lot of people out there who just read tabloids and believe exactly what the media tells them. And we could well be looking at something coming up that will shatter their cognitive helicopters. They know I'm here. Fuck! Didn't take long. Swedish boys, Seppo, as they're known. That's like the SWAT team or the special forces. No, I'm only joking about that, obviously. But yeah, man, some serious fucking bad noncery. Bad noncery. Who we got? We got Max Darwin, we got Tommy Swords, Marky Stew, Baked Potato 25, Lee Murphy. Oh, fucking Lee, mean. Is it true there could be a series 5 of Hardy Books? I don't know what there's some. I think Owen was probably sick of people asking him, which I don't blame him because we all want to be filming more Hardy Books. But I don't know what the hold up is. I think we should just do a crowdfund, and if there's enough Hardy Books fans out there, we do a run of him. But I don't know what's going on. It'd be nice to hear from Chris to see his thoughts, but I haven't spoken to him for about fucking 6 months, maybe a year. Owen's busy doing his thing, and sure, I'm fucking living over in Sweden. So when I'm back, everyone's like, "Yeah, let's do loads of stuff," and then I come back here and I retreat into the daily life with kids and tidying up, cooking dinners, working extra jobs. So it's not easy, and you're kind of out of sight, out of mind. And my talents are going to fucking waste. I have been playing a lot of music gigs lately. I'm just going to get back into playing music over here. My chops are pretty sweet now on the guitar. So it's good, man. It's good. It's very good. Very good. What about Richie Neville? We're in talks with Richie Neville. His people have been notified he will be choppered in to Swinford at some stage for negotiations with director and co-writer Mike again. Rory, I'm all right, mate. I'm not too bad. Pretty good, thanks. Yeah, it's been a couple of quite turbulent months lately. Yeah, but you're playing Rocket League. Fair play to you. How will the other half live, huh? I haven't played any PlayStation for a long time either. Just finding time. Summer is it's a different. You're outdoors a lot more here because it's fucking dark for 6 months of the year, so you want to make the most of that. Mark Stew says there's definitely an elite group of nonces out there just based on how Jimmy Savile was protected. See, here's what it is. It's a blackmailing ring as well. And I think what happens is you get people brought to these parties, liquored up, and put in very shady situations. And I think what happens is they film it. Hugh Hefner was supposed to be an informant as well. So I mean, and someone said they buried all his tapes out at sea. There's a serious amount of crazy, fucked up stuff going on behind the scenes, and it's all been covered for. I can recommend the channel, a guy called Jamie Deluxe. He says, "Warning, I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. I accept myself the way I am, and I accept you too." And he's doing some brilliant investigative journalism into just the fucking amount of nonsense, absolute wrongins that should be, in my opinion. I was doing a bit of cooking today, and I thought, if it does turn out all these big time offenders have been killing kids or abusing kids in heinous ways, maybe the best punishment would be just throw them to the mob, just mob justice. Because Could be a spectacle. Could be a sporting event. Um, d- uh, did I see the stateside update on Facebook about Saudi Arabia? Yeah, I like the way stateside is going to Yemen, which I thought was in Jamaica. Yemen, but he's going to Yemen apparently. I don't think anyone has informed him that it's currently being besieged by the Saudi coalition forces at the moment. And I don't know what he would be eating out there because there doesn't seem to be a lot of food there either. So good old stateside is off to Yemen. I think that's just classic stateside trolling, looking for attention. I've asked stateside to come onto the podcast. Actually, stateside isn't really. Yeah, Morton, I'll be on the podcast in 2 months. And I was like, what's the holdup? I just ring you. Yeah, Morton. Like I say, 2 months. Yeah. So stateside, peace be upon him. Um, so any crack for you? Oh yeah, Patagonia. Any crack? Tony Blair is named in Jeffrey Epstein's black book. Does not surprise me. That fucking scumbag, New Labour, which is basically fucking neoliberal bollocks that they brought in, is a war criminal. Um, and he's probably, I think he's got some sort of soft job as a European ambassador or something at the moment. Yeah, they're all fucking connected, man. They're the whole like Epstein's island, Clinton's, all that shit, man. It's all connected. I like the way Bill Clinton said, I did not know the allegations about Jeffrey Epstein. How the fuck could you not? Like, you've been on his plane 26 times, and you hang out with the guy a lot. You've got you know, a history of lying, a la Lewinsky. Like I started following this thing called QAnon. That was quite interesting. And after a while, I was like, this is all bollocks. And it's all the Patriots. Where we go on, we go all. And I was thinking, is this some sort of make believe bollocks? And yeah, there seems to be something going on because you've got Epstein has been arrested, and I wonder will it be suicide with 2 bullets to the back of the head? EU overlord, says Max Darwin. Very interesting indeed. Very interesting. Stateside just playing himself in the books. I'll let you decide that one. This message is held for review. Go and show us the message. Lying about blowjobs. I guess so, yeah. I'm just Lee Murphy. I'm just watching Hardy Books as we speak, series 4, which I think is the best oxygen smelly fished. Yeah, actually filming third series, episode 4, was it? That series was by and far my favorite of all the series we ever did. There were so many juicy characters coming in and out of it, and I really felt like Chris was allowed to direct. Me and Chris, we decided to kind of just go off script, and the RTE overlord who was in charge wasn't very happy about that and threatened us with endorsements. But in fairness, when me and Chris get together, we have no time for authority. We'll do things our own way, best we can. And that this is a message that I'd like to just say to Chris. I know you've got the whole live stream thing, or the Viper, whatever you want to call him. He's got the live stream thing going on, and he's doing very well. Fair play to him. But I think we're really at a time where we need good comedy, and I'm fucking just sitting over here in Sweden, and Owen's doing his thing. Like it's fucking insanity. Like it's like the Argentina squad just being like, I think I might just go and play five-a-side, a few of the lads. It's like Messi's just gone down to the community centre and started kicking one of those giant tennis balls around the gaff. He just needs to fucking pull his head out of his ass, man, and just fucking come back into the fold. Because I think everyone else wants it. And he is some sort of boy genius, and I respect him for that. And he's a very funny dude as well. And my friend. I'm just, what is it? Physicist Lawrence Krauss came out defending Epstein in 2011, claimed he had empirical evidence that the women, when 19, Kraus is it? I've never heard of Lawrence Krauss, but I mean, look, the shit's gonna hit the fan, and I fucking hope it does, man. I hope this because this is an internet. This trafficking bollocks. It's international, and everyone has to go down. Look, like Savile was protected, man. There's even rumors that Max Clifford was bumped off inside as well. But isn't it? I always find it quite interesting how Louis Theroux, he was like, "Well, I went to see Jimmy Savile," and he knew fucking well what Savile was up to back in the day, 2000. I think it was 2001 when he did the hanging out with the what are they called the Hamiltons. So everyone he was always coming in disguise to expose something that everyone had a fair idea of what was going on. He went into Savile, then all the shit came out about Savile, and he was like, "Yeah, but I was lured in by Jimmy as well." He knew fucking well what the crack was, and I'm not claiming uh, Louis Theroux was implicit in any way, but he knew what the crack was going in there in the beginning, and it's amazing how Savile made one phone call and got Theroux's ex-directory number. But he's protected, man. He was hanging out in Chequers, Tony Blair's residence. He's a fucking wrong'un. Not Louis Theroux, but obviously. So I think what we should do as well for the crack is just find Jimmy Savile's skeleton, dig it up, and just like let lads just kick it about the town and just bring whatever remains of that round. Maybe if you could find Savile's skull and encase it in like a rubber ball, like a football, and just let lads boot it round ceremoniously, maybe once a year. Just boot his skull around. Simon Strange, where Scorpio doesn't want to be on the podcast. I've asked him. He said he doesn't do that anymore. So unfortunately, I have asked him. It's just really difficult to get people to It's just people nowadays. An hour and a half. It's very difficult to get people on. And I do appreciate everyone who's on the Patreon account. I really, really do appreciate that. So if you haven't subscribed, it's a strange one because it's like the Hardy Books, and then it's the Hardy Books podcast, and then it's this as well. So I intend to get better hardware and equipment for that. And yeah, so it's a work in progress. Basically, once I have all the fancy equipment, then I can have a better setup. Let's read a few more of your comments here. How are you, John Kennedy? Tommy Sword said, RTE, scum. Paul Gallagher podcast. Where are we looking now? Where are we? The Paul Gallagher podcast was brilliant, man. Could listen to him talk about 80s, 90s Ireland all the. Yeah, Paul, he's a good lad. He's sound. Met Liam and Harry Styles in an Irish bar called the Highgate Inn on Paddy's Day. And I seen this young lad come through the door. And I was like, I know that lad. Where do I know him from? And because I'd flown in, I did a gig in Leeds, did a gig up in the Irish Centre in Leeds the day before. It was great crack, good crack. A lot of nice pints floating around with a band called Cronin, who were from Johnny Cronin. Did you get me? And yeah, did that gig and then went down to fucking London. And then Harry Styles, I was like, fucking hell, Harry Styles with Liam Gallagher bobbing around on his shoulders. Not often I get starstruck, but on that particular occasion, I was like, shit. All right, mate, and he's the real deal in real life. He's tasty. He'll fucking go if he has to go. Who else? Yeah, I was at Lollapalooza last weekend. I got a job through my mate John O'Kearns, who I'm going to get on the podcast because he's a very funny guy from Dublin, and good mate of mine. And we were supposed to be driving like VIP lads who'd spend like $2,000 on these 3-day tickets. It looked like a bit of a fire festival job, and the Hives played. The Hives, I have to say, they're a fantastic live band. It's basically the same ethos as Iggy Pop and the Stooges. And I was working in this like VIP bar, and I seen him. Obviously, I was fucking having a few, and I seen Pella, the lead singer of the Hives. I went, "Hey, Pella, man, how you doing? You all right, man?" And he was like, "Oh, hey." And I went, "Mark Maloney of the Hardy Books, how you doing, man? I like your rock and roll ethos. It's very much like Iggy Pop and the Stooges." "Oh, thanks very much." And I said, "It's badly needed in these days." But I have to say, if the Hives are coming to a show near you, Do check them out. Actually, they're a fantastic live act. Kraus was on Joe Rogan a few times. Hey, yeah, Joe Rogan. He's a bit of a gatekeeper, is he? He'll tell you half truths. Ghetto Cornetto. That's a man I haven't seen in a long time. Good to see you, mate. Fleetwood Mac style. Go away to fuck. You asking to make more books? Yes, yes, we want more. Simon, mate, I want that. I want that more than anything because it's. Can you imagine how it feels for me? I get to go back to my hometown in Mayo, hang out with my best friends, and just fucking make comedy all day, every day. Then afterwards, guitars, a couple of pints. It's fantastic fun. I want that more. I want that more than you because I also get paid, which is nice because the fucking bills, man. Sweden's not a Sweden's not a cheap spot. It's a rip-off, unless you know people who are very good at dodging tax. Apart from the Stateside, anyone lined up for the podcast? I enjoy Paul Gallagher. Yeah, maybe Liam down the line, but hit me up with a couple of suggestions. I have an old school friend of mine, Fiona Feely, who hasn't had an easy ride of it over life, and she's made some mistakes, like we all have. She's now in psychology and mental health, and I know everyone's like mental health, blind boy, and all that crack. Brezzy, Callum Best, but yeah, it's interesting to kind of get my perspective on it and hear what she has to say. So that's currently in the works. That's going to be released soon. Yeah, what else we got here? Give those lads in Dublin who nicked the mummies from St. Missions. What was the crack there, Max? Someone nicked mummies from St. Missions. What were those fucking mummies doing there in the first place? Egyptian boys, were they? What about the Buzz fella? I do I do see him, and he's good for keeping in touch. Fair play to him. Get get Lexus on the podcast. Lexus was on the podcast. Yeah, I had to take that down because family members didn't agree with the intimate details. But that was my favorite podcast. I mean, that's an example of a man who had a checkered past and pulled it back. Now he's living a fantastic life, and he's he's a beacon of light to other people who might be struggling with their own demons. And that, he works as a I think he's a born again minister now. And say what you want, it's worked for him. And if you like, let's say you go to a priest and you ask for like marital advice, or you've got some sort of vice, how can you can, it's like you can have the intelligence to put yourself in someone's shoes like that, but you like a priest should marry. That whole fucking bullshit of priests not marrying is just because the Vatican didn't want people to, or priests to bequeath their estate to their family, and so it was a way of keeping the money inside the church. But I think, yeah, I mean, if the Catholic Church is to survive as an institution, then they need to get with the times. And do they need to wear all these weird robes and these frocks? Can they not wear like suit jackets and jeans and stuff like those American fancy boys? Um, Andrew, good to see you, mate. Another thing is, has anyone seen that Kenneth Copeland? He's man, if ever there was lizard people, like if that whole David Icke, the lizard people thing is true, that dude looks like a lizard. He's basically one of these mega church, I think they're evangelical Baptists. And sweetheart, he looks like this, and when he talks, his eyes are like that. He's like, "Oh well, what's his name? Tyler Perry. Well, the Lord made me buy that private jet. Jets aren't cheap. That's how much I love him, sweetheart, baby doll. You know what I'm saying?" But real psycho. You should check that out. Am I still king of the corn? And asked Jimmy. I haven't played PlayStation for about 2 months, fortnight. I want to get Resident Evil 2, and I will start streaming that. But I've got an Elgato, and I just need. I'm shite. I'm all right. If someone shows me how to set up the OBS, then I'll do it. And the more gear I buy, I'll probably have to upgrade the computer eventually as well. So I'll probably. But I'm getting a bit sick of Apple products. It's they seem to be the be all and end all of of broadcasting. I mean, they're very handy. They're user friendly and all that. But there's a thing, OBS Streamlabs, that is only available for the fucking Mac or the PC. What's going on? Imagine thinking you're going to get normal people to be priests and also expecting them not to have sex. It's mental. It's not normal. Like, and then I think what happened was, back in the day, most people, our whole purpose of being on the earth is reproduction, and you have all these. I know what those women who were on Sky were talking about, saying like they're going to have like a birth strike because we're overpopulated. That's bollocks, man. Oh, that's complete fucking shite. Um, the world isn't overpopulated. Its resources are being mismanaged for just hand over fist profit. That's absolute shit, man. Get you like the value of having, when you have children, it changes you completely. The amount of sacrifice you have to do, because the crushing responsibility of rearing innocent, fragile human beings and then making them the best candidates for society you can. That is an honor, and it's not for all people. But the amount of things, I compare myself pre having kids and now, completely different man. Tom Cogallan, who plays the Boo, much respect to him, and congratulations to himself and Jenny, for they've had their third child. And he gets it. Like me and Tom, like, we have fascinating conversations now, because it just changes you as a person. You realize that it's not all about you anymore. And I kind of wonder what the hell, like, if I didn't have kids now, what would I be doing? I'd be just, I'd be making a shitload more videos. I'd probably be fucking loaded. I went over to Los Angeles before my daughter was born years ago, and just to check out what what the lay of the land was like. And probably could have made it big over there, but I look at it now. I'd never trade it in. I mean, like, look at Hollywood. Like, you've got people they're afraid of speaking out against blatant injustices, because they're afraid that their pay packet is going to be taken away from them, and that is how people are silenced. It's like, well, if you speak out about, let's say, Weinstein, anyone who spoke out about Weinstein never worked with Miramax or the Weinstein Company. They were blackballed. And then you've got, like, there's actually a really interesting documentary about the guy who made Boondock Saints, Troy Duffy. It's a how not to behave when you're in the film industry. It's very interesting. I recommend you check that out. You can probably get it on F Movies or something. But he had a fall. This guy from Boston, he's from Boston, fucking Boston, and he wrote this script, Boondock Saints, about these Irish, fucking Irish guys, Irish Americans from Boston, South Boston, and they were like, "Oh my God, we love the script. We love it. The script is brilliant. We love it." And I think Weinstein went in and bought an Irish bar with these guys, and they were too real. Your man he was on the phone going, "Matthew Modine's a fucking punk. He's a fag. I don't want him in it." All this kind of stuff. And Marky Wahlberg was interested as well. And he had a run in with the Weinsteins, and couldn't get financing for the film, couldn't get distributors to show the film, and everything had been slowed down by about 2 years. So that's the kind of clout Weinstein had. And he's just it's one of many. And it's all a big boys club where you get blackballed. And I think people have just got to speak honestly and open, because we live in times where people don't speak they don't speak their mind. And I'm not speaking half of what I should be saying, because that's fucking, don't want to raise the head above the parapet. But we'll see what the future holds. And all this shit that's going on in the States, watch that with interest, because that's gonna, if it goes according to what people are saying, people are just they're gonna be shocked, and it's gonna shatter their version of reality based on what you get in mainstream news. I mean, like, You have Washington and it's the same in England, same in Ireland. The government goes to the media, and they basically spin any narrative to whitewash any indiscrepancies or corruption that's going on. So Maloney in LA hanging out with Epstein and the boys. No, there was none of that, but I did hang out with a lot of cool people in LA, and I really liked LA. It was when you're driving around, top down convertible, cool wind in my hair, the warm smell of Calicious. But you get it, like you're listening to Motley Crue, girls, 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 and you're like, oh fucking hell, there's the Crazy Horse and Seven Bell or Seven Veil and all this kind of stuff. And those songs make a lot more sense because before you go, they're just like foreign concepts. But then you realize it'd be like a lad in Galway singing about Roisin Dove, which I have to remind you, anyone out there who's going to be in Galway on the 2nd of August, I'll be doing a live show. And the live show is good fun. It's good crack. And I will be tailor making a lot of the content about living in Galway. And some of the local heads I haven't been for a while, but Galway in the old days. So that's going to be good fun. Jim, see a couple of your messages here. Somebody give our boy Martin a hand with the old OBS Streamlabs. Yeah, someone has to help me out, man. I know Rory has been very helpful, as has Dan Lormer. Fair play to you. So I will get that sorted out. It's just been crazy busy lately. Courtney Moore tonight. Gotta get Friday the 13th, the game. Want to see you slash up some counselors. Take this. Jason's after you. The West is in its death throes, decadence. Yeah, well, Rory, that's ancient Rome. I think it's like seven generations going from the pioneers to the golden age, and then everybody who's just been given everything and expects everything for free. And I think that's what society expects. Like the more you give, the more people expect. And we're fucking soft as shite, man. I was at a wedding there at the weekend, and it was a mate of mine, Dave, who got married to a Russian girl from Volgograd. Like that's what was formerly known as Stalingrad. It's on the Volga River, and that, like, I had a conversation where does tragedy, in terms of something that your people way back when, something that is written into the DNA, do you basically, some tragedy happens or some triumph happens, let's say a boxer or something, someone with a great pedigree in pugilism, is that something that is then carried on and written into the DNA? Assassin's Creed, the movie job? So basically all this tragedy, let's say Ireland would be a classic case, is it something that is inherently living under oppression, is passed on through the DNA? That's something interesting. But basically they were talking about, like, every Victory Day they have their they hold pictures of their grandparents who would have, one of them was saying that one of her grandfathers fought from 1941 to 45, and the other one, I think it was like 1 week before the war ended, he was killed. And like Russians, they're tough people. The Finns are tough people. Like the Finns held off the Russians in World War II, and there was a sniper called the White Death. Apparently, like he had like, it was like 1,000 casualties. He's just a regular Finnish guy. Was a hunter. It's pretty handy at the steel, just blapping away at lads, and they were terrified of him. They called him the White Death. Come here, check out this handsome prince. Oh, look at the prince. This guy's from Russia. He's from St. Petersburg. And man, shite, I talked to this guy. Here, who's that? Look, who's that? He's a good boy, aren't you? Got to take him for his midnight walk. If I don't take him out, he'll for a long walk at night. He'll wake me up at about 4 a.m. That's contish. Sunburn. What have we got? What else? Quato. Yeah, Mark, that's Quato. Quato. Come here, Quato. You've seen this lad before. You know what he's about. He's a good lad. But any other questions, or are you going on the bag with Cookie down in Galway? Oh ho 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 ho. Oh ho 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 ho. Oh ho ho. Keithy Farrell knows what I'm talking about. Quattro. Any hash, asks Rico G. No, I haven't partaken in the sweet Mary Jane in quite a while. He's an odd geezer. Yeah, but what other interesting turns of events? Nearly met Dave Grohl at Lollapalooza, the nicest man in rock and roll. All the other lads had met him. I was stumbling around in this VIP part with this shitty Samsung phone trying to find people, and ended up kind of accidentally walking into the middle bit in the VIP part, and I was like, "Is that Danny Riley?" I was like, "Fucking hell, it's Dave Grohl." She was like, "Do you have a ticket?" I was pissed off with these security guards. Like the VIP bit was where all the juicy stuff was happening, and this security guard woman was working out, and I helped her out 3 times with fences that had fallen down, and I called the site guys and got them to fix it. And later on, when Grohl was in there, I was like, "Oh, you might let us in for a little pint with Dave." No, you don't have the wristband. I'm like, "Yeah, but I kind of know everyone who's working here, and I know the barman." No, this is Sweden. We're fucking boring bastards. So yeah, gang of cunts. I was actually banned from working on the bar because on the Saturday night when the Foo Fighters were playing, this French lad called Peter had stolen 4 of these premium wristbands worth like 8 grand. He was just using them to get the hottest looking women he could find into the VIP part. Smart guy, and he brought in this bottle of really fancy champagne, and he goes, "Do you want some champagne?" I was like, "Red cups, sound, Stifler's mom job, yeah." And so he got me into this special VIP part. It was right in front of the stage. So they were like, "Do you want a drink?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll have a drink." So I was just standing there drinking a beer, and this fucking grass called Emily, she comes up to me. She'd actually taken a picture of me and sent it to my boss. That's the kind of mentality you're dealing with. And she goes to me, "You're supposed to be working. What are you doing in here? How did you get in?" Lucky enough, your man had taken the wristband off me, because then I could have got blamed for robbing one. So I said, "Yeah, I'm watching Foo Fighters." "And you're drinking? Are you supposed to be drinking while working?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm having a beer while watching the Foo Fighters." And then I was taken off the fun job at the bar. But I also met Donatella Versace's daughter as well, and ex-husband. I had no idea who they were until the dude who was driving around goes, "Oh, that's Versace's daughter." I was like, "Who, Gianni's daughter?" "No, Donatella." I was like, "All right." It's in Gianni, the lad who got douche by some header. But yeah, they were really nice people. And I was like, "What's your name, love?" She goes, "Allegra." I was like, "What?" "Allie." I was like, "Do you want a beer?" "No." "Go on, you'll have a beer." "Okay." So yeah, I was chatting shite to them. As my dad would say, the prince or the pauper. Red cups attract hummingbirds. Is that so, Max? Oh, what a cunt. Yeah. I mean, that's like, just, the old saying goes, snitches get stitches. I wasn't going to go, "Yeah, I'm going to Stanley your boat race." I wasn't going to do any of that kind of stuff. Jesus, man, why the fuck would you work if they're being such bellends? Look, like there was other lads there who were fucking pissed driving golf carts. But one of them, he was cute. What he would do is he'd go in the bar and inhale a beer, hop in, goes, "I'll take this one." So he was constantly driving, but he was constantly on the sauce. And whereas I was well behaved, but then had to fuck up spectacularly by being blatant like that. So classic me. Was it Donatella a turtle? She was wearing an old fucking purple band around the eyelids. Do you know the block fighter, do you? I actually do know the block fighter. I was in school with the block fighter, and he's out of all the lads in school, he was one of the soundest. So yeah, fair play to him. He's doing well for himself. So yeah, I should have made some notes on subjects to cover, but hit me up with some questions, and then I'm gonna call it a day, because that hairy dude down there, Quato, needs to go out for a piss. Tommy Tiernan would be a good guest on. That's a good point, actually, Liam. Yeah, maybe I will ask Tommy Tiernan. Like, he'd be good crack. Donatella Bugenhagen. Yeah, I'm sure he would do it. But like a lot of people, again, it's time and I want to get the podcast up and running, just get it done and dusted. But it is time consuming, and I'm doing my best. I'm kind of feel a little bit stretched, and it's been kind of nice just to sit back and have a bit of chill time at the moment. But I do intend to start doing a lot more. I actually met a guy who was interested in doing something with more high end production here in Sweden with me. So I need to get in touch with him when my phone is fixed. But I think I basically need to establish myself here in Sweden instead of just relying on going back to Ireland the whole time. I think this is where I live now. So, and I think there's a lot of very talented people over here. There's a lot of fun people, and they really are. It's just very nepotistic. It's very much so like people go to college together, and then a lot. I have a lot of contacts over here, but not that many contacts in the film world. Usually because working behind the scenes is fucking arduous and quite boring. Have I ever climbed Crow Patrick? Yeah, we did. We used to do it in the dark back in 2007. Self and Pete and Boo Boo Dolls. I remember once the first time I went to climb Crow Patrick was like 2007, and me and Tommy Boo, we went to Super Value and just ate a ridiculous amount of food. And I had this like broccoli salmon pie, big wedge of it, and a load of food. So on the way up the hill, I started getting this really bad pain in my stomach. Like, and it was literally, I could barely walk. But Tom had seen it as some sort of competitive event where he had to go as fast in front of the hill to show his supremacy. And I was like, Tom, just wait, man, sound. And he'd take a few extra steps to the point where he was about like 300 meters ahead of me. And I was just like, just go, man, just go. But then there was some professional lad, a local Westport guy, who was constantly walking up and down the hill every day, and you could just see him like the T90 from Resident Evil, just cruising up. And I was like, yeah, he's going to pass me out in no time. So straight ahead, and you could see Tom just getting all panicked, going. And then as soon as your man just breezed by and went, oh. So yeah, that was. But we went up a couple of times. Me and the lads, a friend of mine, Tony Lennon, Doc Conlon, and Peter Cassidy. We went up there at like, it was like 2:30 in the morning one night, and we got to the saddle, and we could just see this huge like nimbus cloud hanging over the peak, and it just pissed on us, and we were like, it's probably not a good idea. But yeah, it's nice. A lot of people get really into the whole climbing the reek. It's all right. Glenn Brackett, big fan, man. Thanks very much, Glenn. And thanks to all of you for sticking around. It's nice. It's a nice little outlet just to chat to you guys. Do you ever go back to Merseyside? I haven't been back to Merseyside in about 5 years, and which is, I mean, I've got family who still live over there, all Irish. My dad lives there, my uncles, cousins, and it'd be nice to see them, see some old school friends as well, because a lot of those old school friends I went to school with in Wallasey, their sense of humor was brilliant, and I think like my sense of humor before going to Ireland was definitely shaped by those other guys. So it'd be interesting to hang out with a couple of those lads. But it's funny, I see on Facebook like some of the guys who are really into football. Their kids look exactly like they did as kids, and they're doing the same thing. Like they're all big into football, but one of them is now a football coach. I was just running around with the kind of nerdy sci-fi kids going, oh, Predator's coming. And I'm not talking about fucking Epstein. I'm talking about Predator from space. The space Predator. That Ben Askren lad was talking shite, and he took a Cuban missile to the dome. Who's that? Give PewDiePie a text. He'll set you up over there. Man, PewDiePie must have some treasure trove of coin. Like his whole setup is mythical. Effortless. The Swedes are very clever, especially when it comes to technology. Like the whole thing over here in Stockholm is it's IT service. Like they're wizards, Which reminds me about the whole Assange thing. What do you think about that? I think I'm surprised that they let him be taken into, is it Belmarsh or somewhere, or I don't know, but he's being I'd say he's being battered and psychologically tortured to. I mean, look what they did to Bradley Manning. He went in Bradley and came out Chelsea. You know, what kind of fucked up stuff were they doing to him in there? Yeah, so I hope he's all right because you can say what you want about him. He did expose a lot of shady shit across the world. Um, do you ever see Henrik Larsson in Sweden still kicking the ball? I haven't. I think he's from Malmo in the south. But I do often. I used to train at All Stars where Gustafsson trains. I'd see Gustafsson knocking around. He's a very sound guy. My mate said my mate's wife said we were talking about how I said hello to you, man, from the Hives, and my mate Alan's wife goes, "I don't know how you do it, just saying hello to people like that." Apparently, Alan was in IKEA the other day, and Gustafsson was in there, and he goes, "How's it going, man? You all right? You all right?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, sure. How's it going?" But that's the way to do it, man. Just be respectful and yeah, people they're just regular people like ourselves who just managed to make it big. Is it la or lad? Says Liam Murphy. I say la, but Lord as well is the how posh Dublin lads say it. Here, Lord. Yeah, come up here. What's wrong? Come here. Fair enough. Um, Finnegan's Wout, you're currently living in Wallasey. Whereabouts in Wallasey? I was near Liscard. It was near Sunny Park, mate. Sunny Park. We go down there to Sunny Park. I remember I went back in like 20 years ago to see some old friends of mine. My mate Gavin, a couple of years younger than me, and he goes, Martin, I know this dead good place where we can go to meet some dead good girls. I was like, yeah, where's that? Do you know by Thingy, Central Park? Just in there by the swings. And I was like, yeah, tell me more, Gavin. And he goes, what do they do? They do dead rude things like pull your woolly dead hard. Good times, man, good times. Send the bad cunts down to Guantanamo. Could you get Big Mick on? Yeah, I have to an update from the farm. I will get Big Mick on at some point. I've asked him. I was going to do it back in Ireland, but I don't have a decent recorder. You know, come up here to me, you mad bastard. Come here, come here. Well, go on, lie down, lie down. Go on, lie down. Good boy. Give me the collie stare now. That piercing, like it's almost like a patronizing look that the collie, being a very high IQ dog, does. Assange is a top lad. Very sad to see what's happening now. Very little mention of him in the UK news, and virtually no one talking about it. The UK news, man, it's fucking bullshit, and they're cowards. Like I say, money. It's like, do you want to lose your job? No, keep your mouth shut. Russia Today, you know, they're the only ones who are there covering that when he got taken out of the embassy. It's crazy. Do you ever watch the Viper stream, and do you have a favorite character that I just I do from time to time drop in. Favorite character. He's doing one. I like the one where he's driving he's playing like a driving game. But I don't really check in that often. I just get pissed off thinking about like why we're not doing more comedy together. That's the fucking reason. You heard it here. It's not waterboarding if you use petrol. Fuck knows what they're doing to that poor bastard in there, man. Apparently he needed medical attention. Like they could be making him just doing arbitrary shite like sitting against a wall in a squatting position for like 10 hours and then whipping him if he falls down, you know, just all sorts of shit. Auditory fucking torture, you know, that shit he did in Guantanamo Bay. I mean, look at what they did in Guantanamo Bay, right? With all those guys after 9/11. Like, when you look deeper into 9/11, you're kind of like, well, who were all those guys that they just picked up, put in orange jumpsuits, and made to sit all day in the darkness? I mean, really, come on, like, what the fuck was going on there? And I don't want to get too, you know, I think just look into it and come to your own conclusions. I think I ended up on a journey of discovery. I just wanted to find out what the fuck was going on, and I've been down every rabbit hole. and I certainly won't let on in detail what I think. But man, the world is run by fucking psychopaths, and psychopaths and cowards. It's yeah, it's always been that way. So do with that information what you will. I doubt, Chris is very welcome on the podcast. It's up to him if he wants to come on. You know, the ball's in his court. What else we got? Yeah, this card, Poulton Road, mate. They Finnegan's Walk, Poulton's. That's the way you go down the Mersey Tunnel. What school did you go to, Finnegan's Walk? Or are you from Ireland, just living over there? Story was season 5. No idea, mate. No idea. I mean, if RTE pulled their fucking finger out and said, "Here, please do another series," because it's what else is on RTE worth watching? I mean, you've got the internet and you've got like cable. How are you, I mean, how are you competing comedy wise? What are you putting out there at the moment? You know what I mean? It's just they'd rather give it to fucking Bernard O'Shea and Marty Morrissey to go cruising around doing the shopping and stuff. No disrespect to them, but just fucking go with something new and fresh. Like they fucked up. Republic of Telly could have been like the 11 o'clock show, and it wasn't. It was just pie chart merchants, you know, going for the cheap gags of hidden cameras, and it could have been fucking brilliant, man. I mean, if like they didn't, I had a few goes of it, but didn't want me around, so fuck them. Nice people. Tim Kennedy says waterboarding isn't torture. Yeah, he's a fucking bellend, whoever he is, man. It's simulated drowning. It's fucking heinous. And apparently, if you do it too much, you can actually do permanent damage to your esophagus from just puking up bile and then breathing it in. So fuck those guys too. I feel the same, mate. You and Chris are the boys, should be doing stuff together. I think Netflix has brought on a whole new fan base. Absolutely. I don't like. I'm not an easy person to deal with. Like I change my mind. Like as you see with live streaming, gaming, music, fucking podcast. Like I want to do there's a lot of things I want to do, but don't have the time, resources, or energy to do everything. So sometimes I'll spread myself too thin. But the intentions are good. At the end of the day, what I want to do is bring the best quality entertainment. And the thing is, if you start doing things for money, you're doing it for the wrong reason. We did Hardy Books with the intentions of making people feel better, just having a voice for people who just offering something that people want to see, and not feel like you're being fucking patronized to, just something like that credits the audience's intelligence. And like anytime I would watch something as a kid, like a film where someone had put something in where they put a reference in that everyone would get, but they didn't spell it out. There's a film called Tillsammans. It's a Swedish film by a guy called Nicholas Moodysson, and it's about all these like hippies in the 70s living in this kind of cooperative. But there was a character there was a boy in it whose his dad, the parents had like a bad relationship, and you'd hear like this hammer banging all the time, and you'd be like, "What's the deal with the hammering?" And then you cut to a clip, and the dad would go down to the workshop under the house in the cellar, and he'd just be banging a mallet off like a counter while flicking through porno magazines, wanking. So later on in the film, there's a very touching scene between like a reconciliation between a father and a son, and then as they're having this conversation, all you can hear in the back in the house across the street is bang, 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 bang. So that kind of stuff, man. That's like people are smarter than you give them credit for, than these TV execs give them credit for. They're not fucking stupid. They're not babies. You have to spell everything out, and I think less is more in that respect. Let me see. Can you give any Swedish girls some pipe? Did I give any Swedish girls pipe? Yes, plenty of pipe was dished out, and I have no regrets about that. Any sign of a Netflix deal? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I'm working on something that's in development, but I've got 6 episodes of this thing written over the last fucking 7 years, and I've just given it to Mike, my brother-in-law, and I said it just needs, like, this is classic ADHD. 95% of it is done. I just need someone to just go finish the fucking thing. Just please finish it for me because I'm sick of looking at it. But it's very, very funny, and hopefully we'll take that to Netflix, and that's something completely new and different. Comedy in the UK is Pants 2. It's also, man, it's fucking shit. It's crap. It's like they're they're fucking everything up. Like all these outraged gobshites on Twitter. Oh, oh, racist, homophobe, oh, all this. It's what happens to these people if they encounter genuine racists and genuine thugs who will beat them up because they're overinflating those words as a currency. Do you know what I mean? It's like anybody who says anything mildly out of line now, demonized, fucking, and it's not like they're going to get to the point where it's like the boy who cried wolf. That's what's going to happen to these people, and they're all. The bottom line is this, right? So many of these poor bastards end up going to college in the States. Let's say they get saddled in ridiculous amounts of money for studying things like gender studies, which is just pretty much fucking hypothetical pseudoscience, and it's opinion, because the lecturers are looking for a way of it comes down to this: they're looking busy. It's people looking busy, going, oh, I'm going to get found out in my job, so they create something. And this is how large bureaucratic organizations work as well. Like the EU, you've got someone in an office who has a guy over him, who has a guy over him, and they're basically going, "Fuck, what do I do today? Okay, let's put a regulation on toasters that they must have 4 slots, something like that." And then they go to their guy above them and go, "Yeah, I did this thing," and they're like, "Good job." And then his boss will go to him, "Oh, that, yeah, okay, fair enough. I can take this to my boss," so on and so forth. Now, I think the same thing probably exists in academia, where uh, like tenured professors will have to think of some sort of, unless it's some sort of other nefarious thing, just to polarize the working class, which I think is also something that could be very plausible. People are making up modules to make themselves look busy. Then you have the students then who go there, and people don't have, like, when you're a teenager and when you're a young adult. I didn't have discernment until I was about 32. I would read a paper and go, "Oh, fucking hell, man! Jody Marsh is going out with Triple H from WWE. Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off!" And then you realize it's PR, it's bollocks, and so you get a lot of these people. They go into college, they trust what the lecturer is teaching them to be true, and their heads are filled with shite, and then they go out into the street saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. So what do they need to do? They need to go out and then get a job in journalism to justify, because it's the only thing they can fucking do. Like, I mean, like, I don't know an awful lot about gender studies, but it seems to be a fucking useless module. So you got people who go out and they do gender studies, and then they're fucking they go out as journalists and they repeat what they have. They're on Twitter. They have all these hashtags and all, like that's another one. We're talking about what's happening now with the whole Epstein thing. Where the fuck are the Me Too movement about this? What, not like, who's speaking out about that? You have a fucking billionaire, very highly connected to people, and no one's talking about it. And what they're doing as well, which, you can say what we want about Trump. I don't really, I don't really have an opinion on the guy. To be honest with you, I think a lot of people are just watching the news and going, "Oh, let's have a go at him." But what I'm saying is this: uh, they're tying him in it with a comment he made saying, "Oh yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, good friends of mine. We hung out. Great guy, likes the women as much as I do. He likes them young, really young." And everyone was like saying that as like he was endorsing that behavior, like he was implicit. But the other side to that is that's a proper dig. You know, that's basically saying that's a backhanded compliment. So he must have known about all this shit, and people, you know, I mean, if this shit's happening, it's going to be a bumpy ride for a lot of people. Porncast. So yeah, what are we on? From um, okay, we've got a couple here. From Dublin, moved over with the woman. Fair enough. Finnegan's woke. It's not a bad old spot, but I wouldn't live there anymore because it would feel like I've gone full circle. I was working there about 12 years ago, and I was like, oh, I can't do this. Um, but if you're not from there, it's grand. Go down to Hoy Lake. Nice bit of beach action around New Brighton. Um, it was brilliant, still brilliant, says Kev Johnston. Mayo going to win the Sam this year? Probably not. Probably not. But then again, who knows? It could be. Could be. I haven't really been following it, to be honest with you. Have you ever watched Trailer Park Boys on Netflix? Yeah, man. I watched it like years ago, 2005. Chris was on about it with our friend Tommy, and just from the way they were describing it, it sounded hilarious. And then when I lived in New York, I just binge watched Trailer Park Boys and Mighty Boosh while I was there. Are you doing more music or comedy? We double gig in London. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I should just set up a couple of gigs in London again. Um, but yeah, I've been just playing a lot of music as well lately. I mean, if you haven't heard my EP yet, it's down. Well, it's on the channel, so check it out. It's good. Some good rock and roll there. Here's one for you. Have you ever been recognised in Swinford by non-locals, brought here by just the Hardy Boys? Yeah, funny enough. Like there's been times where we've just been standing on the street chatting, and like a bus will pull by, and like let's say a bus of like school lads on the way to a GA match, and they're like, there they are. I was at a wedding there at the weekend, like I was saying earlier on, and I was taught, you know, I was asked to play music at the wedding, so I played a couple of hours of music, and there was an English guy called Rob, and he's like, "What do you do?" And I hadn't really spoken much to him all night, and I said, "Oh, like I'm an actor back in Ireland." He goes, "Wait, is that you from? You the guy? Nah, it's not you, is it?" And I'm like, "From what?" He goes, "From the Hardy Box." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "Fuck! Oh, I thought it was you." And he freaked out, man, and he was made up. He says he watched all the series and he loved it. His wife got pissed off that he watched it, and he was going, "Sky boy, Sky boy." So that was really nice to hear. Like at the end of the night, that people are watching over in the UK and they're really getting behind it. How's Lexus doing in Salmon? I haven't heard from Lexus in about a month, and Salmon's flying it. Fucking Salmon's flying it by. OG Dave, Miss Brown's Boys is shite. I think Miss Brown's Boys, they must have watched extras, and when the whistle blows, and was like, that's a fucking winning concept. Should have thought of that myself. I remember reading an interview that Miss Brendan O'Carroll had said about someone had asked him how does it feel to be a famous transvestite? He was like, I'm not a transvestite, but by definition, he dresses up as a woman. Um, so that back in terms of our discussion earlier on, I'm glad that shit hasn't caught on around here. People seem to have a good grip in reality. Air Biscuit, where are you based, man? It seems it's more of a Dublin thing or like Galway, but you see, the problem is American culture is bleeding out into other parts of the world that aren't affected by the same issues, and it's having a permeating knock-on effect on the global society. That's one of the disadvantages of the internet. Like you'll get people who it's like when Black Lives Matter started doing protests in London on the airport, saying that air travel was racist because it climate change and people living in Africa. Like there has always been a desert in Africa. It's like if you look at like how, let's say, people from northeastern Africa physiologically how they look, it's like, look at the Dutch, right? The Dutch are tall, broad people because they eat a lot of dairy. They eat a lot of dairy because of the climate, and it means like like they have animals for grazing. Animals that are well fed. Like I look at like like my friend from Chile. A couple of guys I know from Chile have the same kind of build. Swedes tall. I look at Norwegians and Swedes. They're tall. Um, West Africa, Ghana, they're big, they're wide because they live in a tropical environment where there's an abundance of food. If you look at Kenya, look at Chad, Mali, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Sudan, Kenya, it's from an arid part of Africa. So therefore, their diets will be affected genetically through for many generations. The body has to grow and adapt to that climate. So when people start talking about climate change, obviously the Gobi Desert, Mojave Desert, um, you know, Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, they've been arid for a long time, and I'm thinking like, how is taxing us going to change the course of climate change? Now they're saying that we're going into global cooling. I mean, what the fuck is it going to be? Back in the 70s, it was an ice age. It's just it's just fear, man. Just stop watching mainstream media. It's fucking bullshit. Like I disengaged a long time ago. I don't bother with it anymore. I'm free to make my own decisions based on my own research. The information is out there. There's not, as Buzz would say, there's no fucking excuse for ignorance. Just get out there, ask some hard questions, face some tough realities, and free yourself. On the other side of fear is victory and enlightenment. So don't be afraid to reassess your own life and ask tough questions. Could you be doing more of yourself? I mean, these are questions I've had to ask. There's a lot of things about myself I'm not happy with, but I'm gonna have to work on that to get the best. People might be thinking, "Oh, that lad's flying it. He's busy the whole time," but I'm shit at structuring, shit at planning. It's just ADHD. I always have been. I'd like to be better, and I'm working on routines and that kind of thing. But as soon as the structures go out the window, it's very difficult to plan. It's boring. I find it the idea of planning boring as fuck. I mean, like I can't even if I have a list, this thing called Wonder List, which I have all these lists that I want to do during a day. Stop looking at it. Bored. And it frightens me to look at the list now because I'm like, oh, I haven't done anything. So, what's this now? But I tell you what, Smithfield and Dublin, and you're in the single enclave in Ireland of socialist feminism and social justice. Yeah, I mean, it's just all this shit has come about in the last 3 years, man. It's like people can't even have a fucking laugh anymore. I actually thought if shit goes down here in Sweden, at least I can go back to Ireland. But like this whole woke thing in Ireland is just it's going too far. Like I ended up making a joke on Twitter where I compared um, immigration to drinking pints, and it was basically here's how the joke went. Because like I didn't know the guy who tweeted something. The guy had tweeted something about like, um, and it came off the back of a conversation I had about how Irish like Irish people who identify as being Irish out abroad when they come back to Ireland, they get a hard time. And this guy, whatever his name was, had written. He basically said, "How come people who like Irish Americans, it's go away, you dopey yank, but if an African guy came here, it would be open arms." And so I didn't look at it. All I seen was people arguing about that, right? So I just threw into the mix just to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. Immigration's like drinking pints. 2 or 3 is a sweet spot, but 10 or 11 or 12 and you're driving the old lady's car over the ditch to Mark McCabe's Maniac 2000. A fucking joke, it was neutral. There was nothing meant by it. And then everyone was like, "You're a racist." And then I look at all these fucking people. Loads of them are like, they're all working for NGOs. And you're like, well, who's fucking paying your wages? It seems like someone's paying these people just to troll people online from having any sort of fucking dissenting opinion to the mainstream narrative. It's fucking bollocks, man. I mean, fucking slacktivists. That's what they are. They don't know the meaning of hard fucking graft. Like today, I was working. Do you know what I was doing today? Today, I was digging a trench, working with my mate, digging a fucking trench by hand because I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and do a proper day's graft. Have these fucking knobheads ever worked on a building site or just done anything physical? You know, middle class fucking pussies, man. That's all they are. They can suck my dick. Fucking assholes. See, what we got here. RTE seem to be in a sad state of affairs at the moment. They need some new faces to freshen up. They just put on the same people, Bernard O'Shea. It's like that here in Sweden as well. Same shit, man. Like people just get, as soon as they're in the door, that's it. There's no, oh, we should have something new. It's fucking boring. Melody Pugh, how you doing? I watch Mighty Boosh far too much. Still think I know the whole 3 series script. Ooh, calm llama down. Made up, lol, Mersey lad. Eamon and Bridget is pretty awful. Yeah, there are people out there who likes it. Obviously, it's popular but it's just RTE, man. They just need to fucking be a bit more intrepid with their content. They need to just throw caution to the wind. Like I say, on the other side of fear is glory. You know, like anytime you like before we did the Hardy books, we didn't know how it was. We didn't know how it was going to be received. We thought people were going to be like, you know, we thought there was going to be boy racer lads around the town out to get us because we'd crystallized the ethos of that. And they came up to us afterwards going, oh, that's fucking class, man. I know lads exactly like that. So there's been a lot of times where, please, there's been a lot of times where I feel like things that I've been, like the EP, I was scared of releasing the EP because I was like, oh, people will judge me. I don't give a fuck what people think now. And people need to stop caring about what people think of them. Ask yourself, inside your fucking heart and soul, if you're happy with something, and if not, do something about it. Don't, I mean, it's we're all programmed to be full of fear, and it's useless. It's just get over it. I'm only halfway there. But yeah, just be healthy, work out, eat healthily, and just don't be a dick. Just be considerate and respectful to people, and try listening. I mean, look, I'm sure most of you guys already know this anyway, because you wouldn't be on this live stream listening to me talking this kind of fucking hard shit, you know. And I hope this has made sense. Like, I mean, I know I lost a couple of viewers there earlier on when I mentioned about Trump. This is objectively speaking. I'm you know, and all this kind of wokenomics and Twitter and whatnot, and the whole Hollywood thing. Look, I'm just telling you what I believe to be true based on how I see the world from my point of view. You know what I mean? That's all I'm doing, and I think more people need to do that because we've lost honest discourse and discussion. You can't just keep burying fucking issues under the carpet and not discussing them openly because it's just going to lead to a climate of absolute frustration, and it's gonna fucking come to a head if like we need rational, open, honest debate across the board about everything, and instead of knee jerk reactions and labeling people with these fucking isms, it's bollocks, man. You know, sorry, I could talk about that shit all day. Okay. Tip is winning. Hi lads, is Tip gonna win the Sam or no? Tipperary. Got that from Elveries. Elveries in excelsis Deo. Not that's amazing how Mars had seas and epic waterfalls. It still has Aurora Borealis with its severely thinned atmosphere. I think you wonder what the crack was with Mars back in the day. If they just fucking had a big war and then the nutters just moved to Earth then. No one cares, lad. Talk about the football. Which football is that? The GAR or the fucking soccer? That's it's kind of nice that the fucking Premier League is over. So for now, that lead up to the champion, man, the Champions League though, boring match, but it was going to go either one way or the other. Immigration is for the benefit of the wealthy class, cheap labor, and suppressing existing working class population. Anti-strike tactic. The elite don't give a fuck about these people. Uh, People who are from the country originally, or the people. I mean, they certainly don't care about the people coming in. It's big business. It's a fucking industry. Like over here, like you'd have hotel people buying hotels that are half functioning or a half capacity. They fill them up. That they were filling them up. I met a guy who the law changed, but until then, you had there was one guy called Bert Carlson over here who's like a kind of the equivalent of Simon Cowell. He was against immigration, and then he actually had a party that campaigned anti-immigration was their number one, and he then decided to like this guy, man. He had these asylum centers where there were subpar conditions these poor people were living in, and making a profit, and so it's more wage slaves. It's more slaves to the fucking financial system needs to go, man. It's just like I mean, the way like the IMF comes in and it gets countries into debt with cheap credit, cheap loans. Then the markets crash. Then they come in and they seize assets like minerals are real tangible assets. Population it's real. These are all like oil, fish, wood, lumber. Like this is they come in, they give you the loans, you can't pay them back. Ecuador, boom, we'll have your fucking rainforest. Thanks very much. It's got to stop, man, and it stops with us. And you might think to yourself, oh, how can we do this? You'd be surprised. It takes one match to burn 1,000 trees. Talking about these middle class weaklings, where's that gone? They're usually in a group that promotes communism the most, but they have the absolute least to add to it, excluding communist academia propaganda. They tried a communist revolution based on badly translated um, Marxist teachings in Afghanistan. All it does is it creates it's usually badly executed. Like let's say Iran, the communists in Iran tried when they were overthrowing the Shah. They were instrumental in overthrowing the Shah. And then what happened to them? They were the first. They were then. It was like my enemy is my enemy's enemy is my friend. Yeah, basically after the Shah was taken out, the communists were next on the chopping block, and the same in Afghanistan. The royal family in Afghanistan was taken over um, by those in the university. It's on Bitter Lake by Adam Curtis. But basically, what did that lead to? The Mujahideen and the Taliban. So there will always be someone waiting to take advantage of that power vacuum. So yeah, a lot of these they're from middle class families, right? So a lot of them are ideologues or ideologues who have this utopian vision of how it's going to pan out. Could they live? I mean, I've been without a phone for 2 weeks. And it's been a fucking nightmare. Like, did they realize that this technology they're using is made by Foxconn in China, the People's Republic of China, where basically they've destroyed jobs in the West. Corporations are fucking squarely to blame as well. Like instead of going after corporations and people and the banks like they were doing the time of the Wall Street. Like here's my theory on it all. Look at Ireland, right? Um, the water meter charge or the water meters in 2014. Everyone from the ordinary working man to the socialists to um, anti-globalization, everyone was in unison singing off the same sheet. 5 years later there's been referendums and there's been identity politics and everything has been used to divide the opposition, which is the working class. And we all need to get over our fucking petty differences and focus on what matters, which is come together, respect each other's like these are different opinions that no one would have talked about a couple of years ago. Why is everyone getting so like the repeal the eighth thing, for example, that started turning fucking nasty. And whatever your opinion is about it, these are opinions that should be left as private opinions. I don't like. or discussions, have a discussion. And I don't know why people, like, it was getting fucking nasty. So what I'm saying is, these are we have, as an opposition, have been completely divided and conquered using identity politics as a way of a divisive tool. And people need to get over the differences, figure them out later on. But man, where how much debt is Ireland in, for example? Look at England, the quantitative easing, the debt clock in America just keeps ticking. Like, it's fucking central banking, man. It's got to go. It's insane, and people are too fucking busy. Love Ireland and you know uh, sport. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you can indulge in that, but know what's going on. Be informed. Like I'm a fucking comedian. Like the new president or the new prime minister of Ukraine, a comedian, and it's got so fucking bad these days that people are turning to the fool, because the fool on the hill sees the world going round. Paraphrasing, but you get the crack. Favorite comedian right now? Um, yeah, I've got one. I'm not going to say it. Like the Black Mamba. Whereas I'm a fisherman, thus are a much better communist than them, despite thinking it's a waste of time. So I'm a fisherman, thus. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, like, communism was about the working class as well. It was about you can say what you want. Obviously, first of all, communism is like anything else. If it's too big, socialism would work if a country had enough natural resources to trade on the international markets, or have, like, for example, who's got skills now in the West? Like, I'm in the kitchen, all IKEA. It's computer made in China. There's no industry. There's no skill sets anymore. People don't know how to make things or fix things anymore. Like, even that my phone, when I went to the Sri Lankan guy, lovely fella. I was like, come on, man, what's the hold up? He showed me the motherboard, and he showed me how small each and every one of those components are on that motherboard. And he said, I have to solder all these, and I have to pinpoint which one of these pins is only because one pin out of maybe 4,000 pins is malfunctioned. And when he solders these pins, like, people don't realize how small this technology is, and they're carrying it around, expecting it to just work, no problem. And the pin, these things are so small. You have to solder it using a microscope that zooms in 40 times magnification. Like, it's insanely detailed, and, like, you know, if that breaks, no one, I wouldn't have a clue. Like, if a screen broke on my phone, I couldn't fix it. So, like, people don't know how to make cups, simple shit anymore. Like, we've lost industry, we've lost skill sets that have been handed down over generations. It's all because of outsourcing labor. Look at America. It's insane. I mean, Ireland. I mean, I come from a family of like, my grandfather on my mother's side was a builder and an engineer. My grandfather on my dad's side was a coal miner, and when they came back, they did the harvest and they farmed the land. My own dad is a skilled tradesman. Like, I could have worked for my uncle, who on my mother's side raised me, and he taught me the value of what it was to be hardworking and say and make money. But instead, I wanted to go back to school and do the leaving cert, and fucking leaving cert, man. What good was it? Like, most people I know who didn't finish school are actually doing better than a lot of people who went to school, went to college. So it's not all like, I don't even think that what they teach us in school anymore is even applicable to the real world. Like, oh yeah, LCVP, we're going to show you how to make a CV. Then you go to college, and they'll show you how to make another CV. And then when you finally get out into the working world, the CV is different. So yeah, CVs are shit crack. Don't like them. And people need to get back to manufacturing and making their own stuff. So in terms of communism, old school communism, some of the shit that came out of Russia didn't look great, but it worked, and everyone at least had it. Like, they probably weren't getting paid great money for what they did, but at least everyone felt like they had a role in society. Whereas a lot of people today, their job is to consume material goods, shopping centers and all that shit. I'm bored shitless without the football. Glad to see Celtic back tonight. I haven't been following that. Sorry, John. Rico G. Women's football is shite. There, I said it. I know. You know, fair play to them that they're. You know, I mean, you can't really just. This is all a lie. I'm going back to the Viper stream. All right. See you later. Kev Johnston. They split up the winnings, but the infrastructure. It's a fucking pain in the hole. This. Okay, I don't know how far down I've gone. Tyrone is the real rebel county. Discuss 12 marks. Tyrone, you say? That's their plan. They're supposed to mix with us. That's what the pointless wars are for, to create homogenous master rule. Rebel alliance. Boom, boom, boys. Bad cunts. In your opinion, what media outlets should trust? I don't think there is any particular media outlet you can trust. I think you've just got to look at as many different sources as you can and use your own discernment, because everyone has an agenda at the end of the day. So you've just got to like if you look at CNN, it's completely different to Fox News. MSNBC, you look at like Fox News, it's the other way. Then you look at Russia Today, you look at BBC. I think independent journalism is the way forward. I think people who are just doing their own research. For geopolitical events, I would watch a guy called The Last American Vagabond. He's very good. Does a lot of comprehensive geopolitical issues that you wouldn't hear. Eva Bartlett is a great journalist as well. Quite like George Galloway. George Galloway. Ryan Dawson is another one. Yeah, some good stuff out there. But you just gotta find it yourself. Um, I'm always curious to know about the confidence in comedy writing. How many times did you fall till you got your voice and way forward? I think it's tough sometimes. It's you just got to stick to what you know. Like when it comes to writing stand up, I just find it really boring. I can't sit down in front of a laptop and like I write a few things, but I feel like for me personally, when I'm writing script, that flows naturally because I can picture the people in my head and what they're saying to each other. But when it comes to doing stand up, it's just fucking boring. I like to just have a few ideas, go out and just and could be a bit sloppy at times, but at least it's fucking from the hip. Run for president. That'd be a handy old number, wouldn't it? They split the winnings, but the infrastructure's fucked, and there's dead chickens everywhere. So I can't really remember what that's related to. Yeah, some good stuff on here, lads. You're discussing um a good bit amongst yourselves. I'm more afraid of my own government than any Muslim boogeyman. No nutrition in the food anymore. Yeah, you see, the thing is, like, Islam was grand before 9/11, and this is just a fucking war to split up the Middle East. And I have a lot of Muslim friends, and some of the fucking soundest people you could ever meet. Here's a story for you, right? About 3 years ago, I was over in London. I went over for a mate's birthday, and I ended up getting fucking wasted. Bit silly. And someone gave me some Valiums, and I was like, "Ah, grand." And they were designed for like the next day if I had a bit of a doomy session. But I just took two fucking Valiums, and he goes, "Oh shit, you weren't supposed to do them now." And I was like, "Ah, be grand." I have no memory of. I have a memory of going to the underground, and then I'm on the underground for about maybe fucking half an hour, and it was just full of women coming back from a Beyonce concert, and I just said, "Sorry, where am I?" And I said, "I need to get to Dalston. This is south. This is like South London." And this girl goes, "Oh yeah, get off at the next stop." And I'm like, "Sound." Just got off in Canada Water. Met these two sound Canadian guys. Went for a few beers. you know, came back online. And I was just walking around London. I was by Tower Bridge. My phone was dead. I was trying to get back to my mate Andy's gaff, and I meet these two Muslim guys in the full gear, the hat and the tunic. I said, "Sorry lads, do you know where Dalston is?" And they said, "Oh, it's about 45 minutes away." And I said, "To walk?" And they went, "Yeah." And I said, "Lads, could I ask you, please, could I get a lift?" And the two guys, they said, "Yeah, sure, hop in." They brought me all the way to Dalston. And I said, "Look, I haven't got any cash on me or anything." And he goes, "Look, brother, listen, it's fine. All we want you to do is pray for us." And I said, "Yeah, I will do." You know, and this is the thing. All this, the media has trained us to be fearful of one another. The most, I'd say, like 95% of Muslims are grand. We're all people at the end of the day, and you know, it's this. The thing is, it's a very different culture, and it's basically as a whole, the culture it is objectively very different to Western culture. So it's you know eventually um, the the dominant culture takes over, you know, and it's I mean, so 95% of people are grand. Thanks, Max. Yeah, across the board. I mean, people, there's 5% are fucking shitbags, and that's to a varying degree of absolutely fucking evil psychos to like apaths who are easily manipulated or have their own agenda. Um, would you push or shove Alex Jones? In credit to Alex Jones, right? About 7 years ago, I started watching a lot of that shit, and I won't fucking lie. I get all like, oh, 2012, and that was, I thought the world was probably something was going to happen. It didn't happen, so thankfully. But Alex Jones, man, he's a fear merchant, you know, and he's compromised. He's bought and sold, and yeah, I remember hearing a comment about Alex Jones once saying that he was like rat poison, 95% truth, but it's the 5% of lies that throws you off. So he's done a lot of good, but he's also he's a fucking gatekeeper. Like, um, is Facebook if Facebook ever did anything good, then it was to make me discover Hardy Books. Thanks very much, Carl. Appreciate that. That was please. I'll take you out in a minute. Sound lads bring you to Dalston. Yeah, they did, man. And let me tell you something, right? Because I did go through a phase of watching loads of Alex Jones, right? But I was going to mention it because it was all Muslims, 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 and then I went and seen firsthand the fuck the generosity and of these guys that changed my opinion completely. And then you get these wankers on. See, let me tell you something about me. I've been to like I work sometimes I work for building stages. I work with guys from every single part of the world, different religions, different creeds, different cultures, different races. And when we're all working together, there is no shit, there is no beef. Everyone just works together as a team. They get the job done, right? Um, and then you have the likes of these fucking assholes on Twitter with these moral high horses who were like, "Oh, everyone's welcome. I don't want them living near me." And this is the fun. Like, there's a brilliant video of a load of virtue signaling Swedes, right? And they're saying like, "Oh, do you like refugees? Do you think refugees should come into the country?" And they're like, "Oh yes, very much so, yeah." And then one guy, "Oh, please, mate." Then he goes, "Brilliant. This is Ali. He needs a place to stay for the night." Every one of them, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's all fucking bullshit, man. You're better off with someone who's just honest and shoots from the hip. Eddie Bravo. I like Eddie Bravo. He's funny. Quato. Did you catch the flying knee Ben Askren? No, I haven't seen. I haven't been following UFC for a long time actually. Since I haven't been training. I don't when I'm big into the training, I get into it. But just because there's loads of lads talking about it. But if you've been out of it for a while, you look at it and you're like, "Jeez, why the fuck are these lads doing it?" Canadian lads at Canada Water. Hey, someone writing in Russian. Don't understand what that means, but this dog is called Malish, baby, because he was the baby dog. Fucking good guy. He's an absolute nutter. Landorma, good to see you on board, mate. Where did that comment? Oh, Muslims, Muslims, Muslims buy the new anti-Muslim toxin, homeopathic muscle building bullshit, super male vitality. You know, like they were concocting this thing that Mexican or like ISIS were coming over the Mexican border. It's fucking fear porn, man. People lap it up. Love the tip top, man. The great man here, hey. Alex Jones was on the Joe Rogan Experience. He's changed his tune completely. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like he was like, Jesus has told me to go and take on Joe Rogan. Big fucking Hardy Bucks brain pills. They're called chats. Yeah, he's gonna piss. I'm gonna have to take this poor bastard out. Do you ever get sick of talking or hearing people about asking about? Sometimes you hear the same questions over and over again, and it gets a bit tiresome. But you know, it's nice to live up to people's expectations or surpass them when you see them. So if you're in the public eye, that's part of it. You've just got to go along for the ride, you know. That was one of the best Rogan podcasts ever. I still haven't watched it, but he's a fucking spacer, is old Alex. But listen, guys, it's this has been great. Thanks very much for listening to me. I mean, it's been a very interesting conversation. And look, at the end of the day, if I've said anything that people, you know, might be like, whoa, it's just, you just gotta fucking, you've got eyes to see and ears to listen. You've got your heart and soul, man. You've just got to ask yourself, are these my opinions based on what I've come to realize through my own critical thinking? And like, don't put your full faith in anybody but yourself. Use your own judgment on these questions. But yeah, look, guys, thanks very much for sticking around. And yeah, look, sure, if you want to help us out, get on the Hardy Books Patreon account, or I think in my channel description there's like what you call it, fucking PayPal or whatever. Just fucking hit us up, man. Like the more contributions I get, the better the gear is gonna get. So the better the streams are gonna get. But question everything, Joe Rogan. But yeah, look, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much. I was only going to be on for like half an hour, but that turned into like an epic little dishy. Talk to you later. Bye.